This is a bit of a shorter video, but I'll be talking about why Toten is what die-rise should have been. In this video, I'll be going through 4 sections and analyzing how, if die-rise were more like Toten, it could have been a better map. So let's get right into it. Die-rise is elegant in its ability to piss the player off with how annoying the travel on the map is. Is it unique? Absolutely, but the elevators leave a lot to be desired. Firstly is the problem with how Treyarch was abundantly aware of the elevator problem because they put a part in the map that somewhat negates the issue, that being the elevator key. The problem being that you can only use it once. This is obviously annoying because you'd want to hold on to it for when you actually really need to use it, but you don't know when you're going to actually use it, so that you're stuck holding onto this key for the entire game. And the key is also a part, so if you pick it up, you'll immediately get rid of it because you're going to build the liquefier either way, because the liquefier is a little more useful than a single-use item. And you can only pick it up in one spot that you'll never go to unless it's round 1 and you're going down this, like, shaft thing. I don't fucking know. Sure, it respawns every time you go back down there, but, like, you're only there if you're camping either way. How often do you go back to the die-rise starting room? In contrast is Toten using zip lines instead of elevators to travel up and down buildings. This is obviously so much better because you don't have to wait for the elevators to come and go, and perks are in set locations along with the pack-a-punch machine. The positives to this are that it's 100% more convenient, not having to wait for the elevator to come and go as it pleases, and you don't have to wait unless another player is using a zipline, but only then you only have to wait a few seconds. The zombies can't attack you, where if you're in the elevator, zombies obviously could. The only negatives are that it sometimes bugs out. I mean, no game is perfect, and it has happened to me a few times, but if you wait a little bit, it'll eventually fix itself. And you do have to buy doors in front of the ziplines to use them, which is a bit unfortunate because on die-rise you don't have to buy doors, rather you have to turn on the power for them to work. But overall, I'd say the zipline system is just more efficient and player-friendly than the elevators. Unlike with die-rise, Toten has an actual defined ground that you can walk on, knowing that if you fall off a tower, which you can't really do in Toten, but if you somehow did, you would actually live and not just, you know, end the game, is reassuring to say the least. Every tower can be easily accessed just by walking on the ground instead of having to jump or fall between buildings to get around. And die-rise's layout is a one-way loop that can't be avoided, unlike where you only have a few places that are really one way. The pack-punch machine stays in one location, along with the perks, and is easily accessible to everyone. I personally don't mind randomized perks or pack-punch, but being able to know where everything is obviously isn't really a complaint. It's more of a nitpick for those who don't enjoy it. And Toten is just easier to move around with the ground level, whereas die-rise only has a few possible training spots. So yeah, die-rise would have heavily benefited if it had just a ground level that everything could be connected to. Toten has PhD slider. So this obviously makes the winner to begin with, considering Cold War already has who's who in the form of tier 5 tombstone. But I still do want to talk about, since my opinion is still the same with PhD flopper on die-rise, that being PhD shouldn't be on die-rise. Not only would it completely flip the progression of the map on its head, but paired with the fact that there is no ground level like previously mentioned, or the fact that it 2 doesn't have ziplines, makes PhD a one-way perk that would only assist the fall damage problem that plagues BO2 in the games before it specifically. Oh my god, my voice. Sorry, I just fucking hate the old fall damage system. Dear god. What do I mean? Well, look at the fall damage on BO2 compared to Cold War. Cold War, you can jump off the top level of a building and only lose like a fifth of your health apparently. My god. Whereas with Black Ops 2, I'm not even gonna show an example. Like, if you played the game, you already know how fucking terrible the fall damage system is. Cold War is more forgiving in terms of fall damage, which is why if BO2 were also forgiving, then I'd imagine only a fraction of the people would ask for PhD on die-rise. Who's Who was the unfortunate perk that was added to die-rise, and added Mule Kickback when it came out. Now, I hate both these perks, but it's a bit of an unfair comparison for sake both these games are already out of their life cycle. And die-rise already had Mule Kick, and has tier 5 Tombstone. So let's compare them. Tombstone wins. By a lot. Being able to revive yourself with your actual loadout, or just get up and keep all your perks except Tombstone, is just so plainly better. There's also no need for free perks in Cold War since, I mean, they're cool to have, but there isn't really a perk limit, which means no jumping jacks. Instead, on Mauer, we have these things, which are weird, but I'd rather deal with these than jumping jacks, so yeah, let's move on. If we're talking about the skybox for each map, then, I mean, come on. Diarize wins by a mile. It has probably the best skybox out of any zombies map. Yes, I just said that, and no, you can't change my mind. That isn't to say, however, that Mauer's doesn't also have a good one. It's worse than Diarize's, but that doesn't mean it's absolutely terrible. It's good, and even though it's very similar to Voyage to Despair because it's just a cloudy sky with a moon, it still does look good. With the atmosphere, the rain on Mauer is also really nice because it just adds, like I said, atmosphere to the map. In comparison to the falling meteors and debris on Diarize, Diarize also has buildings that are literally falling apart, while Mauer has buildings that are intact, to say the least, since half of Diarize literally takes place in a fallen tower. This section is basically personal preference, so if you do prefer one over the other, I can't really complain. I prefer the skybox in Diarize, but I like the overall atmosphere in Mauer to Toten more. And that's it. If I were to compare the wonder weapons or buildables or anything else, this video would basically just turn into a direct comparison. So I didn't bother to compare them, but yeah, that's basically it for this video. So yeah, thank you guys and girls for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye! Wait, hold up. This is the best part of the map right here.
Bro, what the fuck is happening?
Wait, you know, I have to grab it. No! No! Move! Oh, I have it!
Payback's a bitch! Just so you know, so is Russman.
Run!
Bro, what the
Watch this!
This is ridiculous.
We're backwards! And then we can go...
This is...
We can go back.
I know who to blame if I get infected.
No!
So if you crack your knuckles, you just...
That's the building animation.
That shouldn't copy the building animation.
You crack your knuckles and then
That's ridiculous.